Welcome to episode 2 of Stories Told by Us. My name is Ron.
And I'm Mariana. And today we have a story from our own home, which happened back in 2012-ish.
Yeah.
Am I making that up?
Yeah, because it was around 5.
2013-ish, around that time anyway. But basically our daughter was in, it happened over a period of time. So she would have been about between the ages of 5 and 6. So she was just starting school kindy and pre-primary as it's known here. Okay, this
will be a creepy story.
It's a creepy story.
I'm very skeptical about all things like this as well. So that happened to us is a bit unbelievable still.
And whereas I'm the opposite, I'm completely into paranormal, supernatural, like ghosts, spirits, you name it. I love the topic, and I've never, well, besides from this, I've had a few sort of supernaturally type things in the past, but I've never seen anything. And I'd like to, but then I wouldn't like to because I'd be really scared.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into it. We were in a reasonably new house in a new suburb, and basically our daughter she had her own room, and we had a son who was just a baby at the time. Or not, yeah, he was a toddler, I guess.
Yeah,
he was like
about two.
So our kids are 3 years apart. So our daughter, basically the bedroom. Let's start again. The house had 4 bedrooms, and our bedroom was right near the front door. And then you kind of had to go through the kitchen and down a hallway, and the other 3 bedrooms were together. And there were 2 bedrooms next to each other, basically. So we set the kids up in those 2 bedrooms. So one of them was for our daughter and one of them was for our son. Very soon after being there, our daughter started having nightmares. She never really said what they were about, though, did she?
No.
Just
she couldn't sleep.
She couldn't sleep, or sometimes she might wake up crying, or in the morning she would say that she had a nightmare or a bad dream. And then little things started happening around the house. Like, for example, we'd lose things. And it was like we'd lose a calendar. We lost a calculator. It was like things with numbers.
Yeah. It's creepy.
Random
things like, why is this missing?
And we're not we don't have many things, do we? Like, literally in our house now, believe it or not, we do not have a linen cupboard. And we don't need one because we just don't have, we don't keep a lot of stuff. And I get quite, I have Marie Kondo moments where I just chuck everything out. It's all gone. Anything that hasn't been used, like clothes, shoes, just stuff, I just bin, like gone. So we don't have a lot of places for things to go. So if something goes missing, it's not like we have rooms of stuff, do we? Like literally... Yeah, it was weird.
It's not under the sofa, it's not anywhere.
It's just, there's nowhere. So basically that started happening. Then one day she came into my bedroom and she told me that she just saw me in the toy room. Now, the way the house is situated, if I try to explain it, like I said, you walked into the front door, and straight away on the left was our bedroom. Then the corridor split off into 2, like a fork in the road. One way was towards like another living room, I guess, like a narrow sort of living room.
On the left.
And then if you went to your right, you would walk into the sort of open area where you had your kitchen, a dining table, and like quite a decent sized games room. And we had like a TV and like toys set up for the kids.
Yeah.
And then sort of to the right of that was the hallway where their bedrooms were. So if she had walked through the corridor from her room and saw me in that games room and then continued on to get to me, there would have been no way for me to have been there and then got to my room without her seeing me walk there with her, basically. So when she came into the room and said, "Oh, Mum, I just saw you standing in the games room," it was like I got chills, like goosebumps. I was like, "Ooh." And I was like, "Oh, no, like, must have been your imagination. I've been here the whole time." So that was kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
And then I guess she started telling us about a little boy that she would see in the room, and that she'd sometimes, that it would bother her, like he'd pull her sheets, or he'd like touch her head or touch her hand or things like that. And she'd be like, when we'd ask her, what she does, she'd be like, oh, I would just say, stop it, like leave me alone. And so she struggled to go to sleep. So here's me going, oh my God, we have a ghost in the house, like love it. I don't think Ron was so convinced.
No, I was like, she just having nightmares.
Yeah.
I think a lot of kids at that age have
Yeah,
nightmares.
just like it's just her imagination, whatever. So I guess because I was really into it, I remember we had a barbecue one night, and a very close friend of mine, he was had always been into like tarot readings, and a sensitive, I guess you could call her. So she would see spirits or ghosts and things like that. And I remember saying to her, we have a bedroom in the house. I kind of explained the story about our daughter, and I said, we've got like the bedroom in the house that, I don't know, maybe something's there. So I remember her walking over to the room and instantly kind of just pausing and going, something doesn't quite feel right. And she closed the door of the room. She left it there for, went off and did something, came back, and said when she came back, she really sensed that something was there. And so she kind of got the feeling that whatever or whomever had been in there at one point kind of was left abandoned, like whether they were bedridden. And she said it could have been an animal. It could have been like a dying pet, or...
But the room didn't like the door to be closed.
So basically she was like, leave the door open. So what we did was we actually moved our daughter from that room, didn't we? Yeah. We were like, this is all a bit weird. And even though like we never saw anything, and like Ron didn't necessarily believe it, I kind of thought, what's the harm of just changing rooms? Like maybe it will be for the better, right? So we changed her bedrooms, and we left our son where he was. He was happy. Nothing seemed to be going on. And we moved her to a room just literally down the hall. So set her up in there, and that other room became the spare room.
Yeah.
And I kind of made a point every day to leave the door open and open the blinds, and I'd walk in sometimes to be like, hello, or like scared, but like...
And actually, even though I don't believe in these things, I did the same thing. I didn't close the door.
Yeah.
I always try to be positive when
it was really strange. It was really strange. And even the room kind of had a sense of, it was a bit colder than the other rooms. And like I said, that day we had the barbecue, not only did that one friend of mine sort of, who kind of is a sensitive and felt things, but I had a couple of other friends who kind of walked into the room and were like, ooh, we don't feel great in this room, So that kind of, for me who loves this, I was like, ooh, there's like something there. So anyway, time sort of, things kind of got a little bit better, but not really. She was still saying someone was like bothering her at night, and she couldn't sleep and things like that. And what I would feel in the house is I never felt scared in the house, but where our kitchen was, and we had that little random little thin sort of living room, there was like a window, just like a wall cavity, a space, and quite often I would see a shadow walk past. And I remember my mum and sister one day came and they said the same thing. They said, we just saw a shadow walk past. And so that was like, ooh, love it.
Because in Mariana's family, everyone's a witch.
Thanks. Absolutely, that's right. No, but actually, in my family, so my mum and sisters, they do believe in the supernatural, and they are convinced that in our family home that there's a ghost in there. They've quite often seen a shadow walk through the halls. And it's funny because me being one who loves it more than anyone, I never saw anything growing up there. But I think as well I probably put a bit of a shield up because I'm like, I don't actually want to see anything because I'm probably the...
I really won't want one.
But no, like I'm the biggest scaredy cat. So anyway, then things got a little bit creepier when our daughter started talking about Evangeline. Was it Evangeline? Yeah. Angeline.
No, I think it was
Evangeline.
Yeah.
Okay, this was a few years ago, guys, so sorry.
Yeah, well, our daughter's 12 now. So.
And she was like 5. Yeah. So, do you remember that? That was weird.
That was weird, yeah.
So
Evangeline.
Yeah. So she used to tell us that there was Evangeline, and Evangeline was little, right? She used to say she was little, like like a fairy or something. And by the way, fairies are not those innocent little fun things. Like all the stories from way back then, fairies were super evil. Like they used to like steal kids and put Yeah, it's weird. Love it. Look into it. It's very interesting. He's like, whatever, this is a load of crap. But I think it's real. Anyway, so she would talk about this Evangeline, and she was like this little thing. And this Evangeline was telling our daughter that I was not her mum. I felt the pain when I had her. I am her mum. He was there. But she was convinced, and it's so weird to have like a 5-year-old say, but Evangeline's saying you're not my mum. Like, she's my real mum. And it was weird.
Yeah.
And how do you speak to a 5-year-old and say, like what do you even say? Like, what would you guys say if they said, you know, this little imaginary thing is, and she was adamant, she was like saying, no, like, you're not my mum. Evangeline is my mum. And kind of this dragged out for a bit until Ron got quite cross, didn't you? One day. Do you remember?
No.
Good.
I'm never get cross. I'm the nicest guy.
So basically you're saying I'm a liar. So one evening we were with her, and she started saying, Evangeline's here, and she's saying, you're not my mum, you're not my real mum, I need to go with Evangeline. And like, she got quite worked up, and Ron got shitty. And he was like, right, like, the end. And kind of was like, stop it, you know, she's your mum, the end, it's just your imagination, or whatever it was that he said. And then she goes, ow, and she jumped back. And she said that Evangeline had poked her in the toe, which was also weird. How big is this thing? It's like a little teeny.
Must have been an ant.
Ant-Man. So yeah, and then kind of she kind of left, didn't she?
Yeah.
That was kind of it. Like, I guess, you know, two sides of the story. So whether that was all in her imagination, maybe she hated me. So anyway, Evangeline hated me. So basically, after Ron sort of said that, and I remember her not being. Our daughter wasn't upset by him getting angry. It was more, she just accepted it. She was like, okay, cool, great.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
it was almost like, oh yeah, cool, you know, you're my real mum.
Make her wake her up.
Yeah, like, it was just, yeah. So anyway, so this Evangeline person, that was that, and it kind of disappeared. And yeah, but she still, every night, she used to still say that, you know, things would bother her. Like, they'd bother her, like, try to wake her up, like shake her, or like pull her hair, or if her hand was out, pull her hand and stuff like that. My God, have you ever seen Drop Dead Fred?
Yeah.
How scary. I will never forget that scene, watching it as a child, when she's snot-faced, is laying in bed, and the hand comes out from under the pillow and whacks her in the head.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Drop Dead Evangeline.
That's what I would imagine when she would say the hand was, like, bothering her. No, go. You have something to say?
No, I don't know if you were going to get to this, but one thing I remember is that your sister, being witches and all that, she came into the room and actually did like some sort of burns. Sage.
Sage. Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did. She burnt sage. And actually, in that time as well, I went to like a tarot reader, and they didn't know anything about me, and they said that I needed to move my daughter from. This was before we moved her from the room. This person said. They didn't know anything about us, nothing, and they just said, you need to move your daughter from the room. And this person told us that we had something called a duende. Now, a duende...
In Spanish?
In Spanish.
Yeah.
Duende. So a duende... basically, it's like the equivalent of like a troll or a gnome.
Like a gnome. Yeah.
Like a gnome.
Yeah.
And I know, if like I said, if you're into, you know, mythical creatures and whatnot... gnomes are like tricksters and pranksters, and this person told me that they quite often steal things to do with numbers.
Yeah, and like calendars.
Yeah.
Calculators.
So believe what you will, but it was pretty coincidental that was all happening. So anyway, then this was a bit like, well, it was a bit embarrassing, but kind of funny. So Eva, our daughter, had the same teacher in kindy and pre-primary. And so this had been going on kind of like the whole time. And then one day I went to pick her up from school, and the teacher said, oh, I just want to show you her, like, you know, they do like daily writing or whatever. And we'll pop this picture up if you are watching this on YouTube. Yeah. And she drew a picture of herself in the bed, and she coloured. So the bed was little and she's little, and there's just like black
everything.
coloring in all around her, and she literally like wrote, "I am scared of the dark because sometimes I feel hands grab me." What? That was creepy. I remember getting so many goosebumps and then just going, oh my God, imagine a poor little 5-6-year-old going to bed at night and then someone like whacks her on the head. I don't think that ever happened. But I think what it used to be was it used to like tug her hands and pull her hair and stuff. But it was interesting because she was never like scared of it. It was more, she was annoyed. And she would say like, I want to go to sleep, but it's trying to wake me up.
Yeah, it's annoying.
Yeah, and I think it was funny because at one point she was saying it was a little boy. I don't actually remember this, but I spoke to my mum about this a while, like recently, and she was saying that she remembered her saying it was a little boy that wanted to play and was trying to wake her up. And so my mum told her, just tell him that now it's sleep time and you need to leave me alone so I can go to sleep because I've got school in the morning. And so that's what she used to say. Whether she used to say it or I don't know, but creepy, right?
Creepy.
And I mean, that kind of, I guess, it just kind of stopped one day, right? Like, that was that, and kind of that was it. But it's interesting because to this day now, our daughter really doesn't like the dark, does she? She's 12, turning 13. She still doesn't really like the dark, and like
sometimes she'll come to her room at night.
And
but she won't walk by herself.
Yeah, so she's still kind of scared of the dark, and she quite often wants us to stay with her until she falls asleep and things like that. So obviously it's something that, had an effect on her, you know? And so I'd be really interested to know, like, have you guys had some sort of supernatural kind of incident in your lives?
Actually, in saying this, I don't believe in ghosts or anything like this, but I do believe in people's energies. And I don't know if you ever noticed, but when someone walks into a room, you either feel happy or feel crap. What I was saying is that I do believe in energies, and I think that sticks around when we die. And I don't think we go. I don't think there's heaven. I don't think there's a heaven. I don't think there's a hell. But I think our energy sticks around, and I think that's what's stuck around in that room.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, and whether the thing in the first room was a separate thing, because you know what I mean? Because they said there was someone like bedridden or someone abandoned in that room. That perhaps was something different. And then the little boy was something else. But then who was my doppelganger standing in the games room? That like we've heard about doppelgangers happening as well. And who's this Evangeline person? Right. So was there 4 different energies or ghosts or spirits or whatever you want to call it in that one house, or was it the gnomes or the duendes that were playing tricks, or, who knows?
Or was it just her imagination?
Exactly.
Yeah. Let us know what you think in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tell us the stories that you have. I reckon a lot of people have a lot of these stories.
100%.
Especially when it comes from a skeptic like me. Because we don't believe in these things. Or
sometimes there's no explanation. Sometimes there's we don't have an explanation for it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I guess you could just say it was just her imagination, full stop, the end, end of story. But me, who is a believer, I really don't think it was her imagination. Like, I genuinely think there was something there. And, kids are more susceptible to things, they say, And, our daughter is quiet. She's super sensitive. She's really quiet. And, she's probably the perfect person for whatever type of energy, spirit, whatever, maybe not even target, maybe just genuinely it was a little boy that wanted to play.
Yeah, that's right.
And she was a 5-year-old sweet sort of little girl. So I don't know. But that is our story of the supernatural or the paranormal from our home.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you like this, we'll put the picture somewhere in the video.
Yep.
We're also on SoundCloud, so please follow us on that if you're ever in the car and you cannot watch our beautiful faces. But yeah.
And we look forward to seeing you next week for episode 3, which we won't tell you what it's about.
No,
so you have to come back. Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.